At its heart, this story is about invisible power, a woman dismissed for years who secretly holds the keys to her brother's empire. Rachel Chen, a financially brilliant but humble investor, hides her enormous success behind a modest consulting firm. Her brother Marcus, arrogant and dismissive, built his logistics empire on the $180 million she secretly invested through anonymous LLCs. For 8 years, he's belittled her business acumen, unaware that she owns 51% of his company. When Marcus brags publicly about his billion-dollar valuation, Rachel quietly triggers a legal clause that exposes the truth. The revelation dismantles his ego but doesn't destroy his company, it redefines their power dynamic forever. This isn't a revenge story of rage, it's a story of measured revelation. Rachel's vengeance is quiet, intellectual, and elegant, the kind that leaves you breathless because she never raises her voice. Rachel's intelligence is dismissed by her older brother during their father's retirement dinner. This scene establishes tone, power imbalance, and emotional history. We see Marcus's early arrogance and Rachel's quiet composure, foreshadowing years of silent resentment. We learn Rachel secretly saved Marcus's company 8 years ago. Her intelligence, wealth, and strategic patience built his empire while he mocked her. The dramatic irony builds, we, the audience, know the truth Marcus doesn't. Marcus publicly announces his success, overstating his worth and crediting himself as a self-made empire builder. Rachel, tired of invisibility, initiates her legal withdrawal, a symbolic act of reclaiming visibility and power. In a tense boardroom scene, Rachel reveals she's the silent partner. The truth devastates Marcus. Years of ego crumble in a single sentence. The power shifts gracefully, not violently. Rachel never yells. She simply shows the truth. Marcus accepts the reality. Their partnership goes public. Rachel finally steps into her rightful recognition, not out of revenge, but self-respect. The ending is poetic. She didn't destroy him. She revealed the truth. Rain pressed against the restaurant windows that night, the kind of Seattle rain that made the city look like it was underwater. Dad's retirement dinner was supposed to be warm, sentimental. Instead, it felt like an investor pitch. Marcus had been talking for 40 minutes straight, pacing, explaining, gesturing with his wine glass like a TED Talk no one had requested. Fleet optimization, cost leverage, scaling the supply chain. He was 27, loud, confident, and in love with his own voice. I was 19, quiet, taking notes on a napkin, pretending to be invisible. Rachel, Dad said suddenly, smiling at me over his glass. You've been studying economics, right? What do you think of your brother's business model? I swallowed. His pricing structure seems tight, but he should build a cash reserve before expanding the fleet. If fuel costs spike, Marcus's laugh cut through my sentence like glass breaking. Stick to your college textbooks, Ratch. This is real business, not Econ 101. Everyone laughed. I smiled, small and practiced, and went back to my salmon. That was the first time Marcus dismissed me. It wasn't the last. 14 years later, he still laughed the same way. Only now, he did it from a $400 million logistics company that I'd quietly kept alive, with money he never knew I had. My office wasn't impressive, 3 rooms, 6 employees, 1 flickering fluorescent light. To everyone, I was just Rachel, the consultant. What no one knew was that I'd made my first $10 million before I turned 25. By 30, I'd built a portfolio worth $340 million through early-stage tech investments, cloud infrastructure startups, and careful market timing. I didn't inherit wealth, I built it, quietly. And 8 years ago, when Marcus's empire nearly collapsed, I saved it. He'd expanded too fast. His credit lines snapped. He needed $180 million. Through a network of LLCs, I became his silent investor, 51% ownership, 12% annual return, complete anonymity. I'd built the walls that held up his house, and he never even looked down to see whose hands were there. Every year, I watched him give interviews about his vision, while implementing every strategy I'd fed anonymously through his financial advisor. Automation? My idea. Fleet software? My push. Regional expansion? My data. And every Thanksgiving, every family dinner, every gathering, he'd ask, "Still doing that little consulting thing, Ratch?" And I'd smile. Because he didn't know the ground he stood on belonged to me. Marcus's estate looked like it belonged to a senator, chandeliers, marble floors, too much ego in the air. "Everyone, I have incredible news," he announced, raising a glass. Martech Logistics is being courted for acquisition. Valuation, $850 million to $1.1 billion. Applause. Tears. Pride. Mom cried. Dad smiled. Marcus's wife filmed on her phone. I just stared at my wine. His math didn't add up. He was overvaluing himself and forgetting that I owned 51% of his reality. When he turned to me, smirking, "No congratulations for your big brother?" I smiled. "Congratulations." He smirked again. "Take notes, Ratch. This is real business." Something in me shifted. Maybe it was the way he said real. Maybe it was the laughter. Or maybe it was just time. That night, I called Theodore, my intermediary. "I'm done hiding," I said. "Execute my withdrawal clause. Tonight." Wednesday, 10 a.m. Marcus walked into my office, confused, his $2,000 suit out of place in my modest conference room. "Where's the silent partner?" he demanded. I slid a folder toward him. "You're looking at her." He laughed once, disbelieving. Then he saw the documents. His face drained of color. "Rachel, no. You run a small, I owned 51% of Martech Logistics," I said. "You've been operating on my capital since 2016. Silence. His lawyer flipped through the papers. The numbers didn't lie. 8 years of arrogance collapsed in a single breath. "You let me talk down to you. For years." "I didn't let you," I said quietly. "You just never looked up." He paced. His voice cracked between disbelief and shame. "You could have destroyed me." "I could have. But I didn't." She explained everything, the terms, the guidance, the patience. He listened, silent for once. Then, his voice broke. "Why now?" "Because Saturday, you told me to stick to my little side projects." She looked him in the eye. "And I realized, Marcus, I built your empire while you mocked mine." For a long time, he said nothing. Then, "I'm sorry." It wasn't loud. But it was real. 3 months later, the acquisition closed. Valuation, $980 million. Rachel, $499 million. Marcus, $372 million. The press called them co-founders. Marcus called her partner. For the first time, Rachel didn't hide behind anything. At night, she walked home through the quiet streets of Seattle, rain shimmering under streetlights. For years, she'd been invisible, indispensable, and underestimated. Now, she was neither. Her phone buzzed, a new startup proposal. She smiled. Sometimes, the most powerful revenge isn't destroying someone's illusion. It's revealing who built it.